Alright, today's install is going to be the front and rear sprockets and a new chain. It's a 520 conversion, and I got the 3D chain because it's cool. I don't think it has any performance advantage. Maybe it's a little lighter. 520 VORTEX sprocket. I am sponsored by VORTEX for road racing, so I get a discount on parts. So I went with a 15 tooth front sprocket in 520 and a 45 tooth rear sprocket, which is stock, and their 3D chain. So this should be all the tools I need to do this. Doesn't mean I won't pick up something else that I don't have on the table, but I like to spread out all my tools that I'm going to use before I start, so I can kind of go through the process in my head and check everything. The bodywork's already off of this because I'm plastic dipping it. I got the base coat down already. All the bodywork's outside. So since I had the bodywork off and I got to take the wheels off to dip those, figured this is a good time to do the 520. All right, let's get started. I got the head harness for the GoPro for two reasons. One, so you can't see me, because well, just so you can't see me, because nobody wants to see me. You want to see what I'm doing. And two, my hands are free, so I can just work. So the way this works, it's got a little magnet on here, and chain is metal, so it locks right in there. Then when you try and roll this, it stops it. And I'm just cracking these loose. These little stake holes, or stakes, bends. And there we go. That also makes them easy to damage the threads, so you be careful when you take this off. Now I got Motion Pro PBR. Stands for press, brake, rivet. So the way this works is this clamps down on the chain. You line this up with one of the rivets. You screw this down so it holds it tight, and then screw this down so that the anvil pushes the rivet straight through, and then you can break the chain apart. Line this up. And you can feel it kind of lock on. So hold this. You don't need it super tight, just tight enough. One down, one to go. So now we take this out. Now I'll replace the front sprocket. Put the washer on. So I always like to put indices on dissimilar metals so they don't corrode. Okay, now one thing you need to be careful with when you take your rear wheel off, not any of this stuff, it's right here. So this sensor for the ABS is easy to break, and the bike will not run without that sensor. So what I'm gonna do is a smart thing and use the wrong size Allen wrench. Happens. So that wheel, it's not an ABS sensor, it's a wheel speed sensor. And just let it hang. So let's This is the most difficult part of the entire install. There we go. Now that this is back in, put that in there so it doesn't get damaged. It's important to drop your tools when you're working on a motorcycle or a car or anything. They don't work unless you drop them. I don't need it super tight. I just need it in place. Now, if you think I'm doing this the wrong way, feel free to comment. But this is the way I've done all my chains and sprocket sets, I guess, on all my race bikes, all my street bikes I've ever had. Just how I do it. So, pull it tight. And there. A little harder to do when you don't grind the rivet off. There, got it through. The reason I did it without grinding the rivet off is I read all through the instructions and it never mentioned grinding the rivet off. So I just wanted to see if it could do it. It can, it just requires a little more brute strength and ignorance. Now, I didn't mention it before, but I got the steel sprocket. And I'm sure somebody could tell by looking at it. Does it stay in? Yeah, steel laser cut sprocket. Okay, cool. The reason I got the steel sprocket is because this is a bike for riding on the street. I see people get aluminum sprockets all the time for street duty. Just doesn't, it's not like it won't handle it. It's just not intended for that. We use aluminum sprockets for racing because we change them out all the time. Okay, now that I've got everything completely covered in grease. Now you don't want to press too far because you will crimp the chain. Now right now I can tell we're nowhere near there, but should be on enough to stay. So I can demonstrate something. Measure one of the links that is factory pressed, which is 18.5. We're at 20.1, so we still got a ways to go. Now let's measure it again. I think we'll call that good. Yeah, you can see they're dimpled. It doesn't need to be much. You don't need to go crazy on them. Ugh. Now I need my hands to dry. We need to align this. So this is a slack setter. The way this works is you go like this. That tells you how much slack you have. Clearly, I've got a lot. I don't know if you can see, but we're way out of alignment. So what we do, we use these to align it. Okay, the spec I believe is 25 to 30. Okay, we're aligned, so I'm gonna go ahead and tighten it. And if I need to adjust the chain, I can always adjust it later. And there we go. Almost. Don't get carried away. Now, if you remember from before, I didn't have this tightened. 63 foot-pounds still. This shouldn't be too hard to torque since these are super fine threads. There we go. So now we need to stake this. There. Staked. Staked. Put the cover back on. I like to start all of my bolts by hand. There we go. Now I start cleanup, but there you go. 520 chain conversion on a 2018 Yamaha YZF-R6. I like it. Looks good. All right, later.